Hey everyone, and welcome to another Explainer. Today we're literally strapping in for a deep dive into an incredibly expansive and, honestly, wildly creative universe. We're unpacking the lore behind SSLP Productions' upcoming PG-13 fan film project, Infinity Horses. This is a world where pure nostalgia meets really intense survival drama, and the sheer scale of the world building is something you just have to see to believe.
So I want you to start by asking yourself this kind of crazy question. What actually happens when human technology and ancient science terraform a second Earth for ponies? It's a pretty wild sci-fi premise, right? But this is the core concept of the entire project. We're looking at a reality where modern urban life, high-tech human concepts, and gritty survivalism completely collide with fantasy magic.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for touring this massive 5 to 6 year world-building project. 1. Genesis of a Second Earth. 2. Welcome to Michigan Equestria. 3. Magic of Warm and Cool. 4. Defenders of the Infinity Herd. 5. Agents of Volcanic Entropy. And finally, 6. The Ultimate Symmetry Shield.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, Genesis of a Second Earth, the Sentience Project.
The origins of this whole setting are rooted in something they call the Genesis theory, or the Sentience Project, and it's a very specific chronological process. First up, human scientists actually teamed up with ancient Anunnaki scientists to synthesize a universal genetic serum. And get a load of what's in this thing. It's mutant DNA combining equine, wolf, dragon, and bird genetics. Next, this serum was released via a massive chemical drift right through space. And finally, this process literally terraformed a brand new planet, resulting in the creation of a second Earth.
Moving right along to Section 2, welcome to Michigan Equestria, a unified megastate.
We really need to define this central concept clearly, because Michigan Equestria is definitely not your standard medieval fantasy kingdom. It's this massive, unified megastate continent. On this terraformed second Earth, human technology and modern urban life fuse seamlessly with fantasy magic. So, former real-world countries, like Japan and China, actually exist here, but they function as distinct, interconnected city districts within this single colossal continent.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the jarring but totally brilliant juxtaposition of these locations. The real-world map of the United States has been completely reimagined as Michigan Equestrian USA. So states are literally renamed. You have places like California, Michigan, and Alabama, Michigan. Detroit serves as a primary urban hub where, get this, zebras have actually migrated from the African savanna. And then, standing right alongside those, you have classic franchise locations like Maritime Bay, Zephyr Heights, and Ponyville, all baked right into this one megastate. And smack in the middle of it all is Ashestown, which is this region of scorched ruins that our heroes have to protect.
That brings us to Section 3, Magic of Warm and Cool, the dual energy system.
You know, the magic in Michigan Equestria operates on a very strict dichotomy of energies. On one side, we have warm energy. This is all about healing, physical intimacy, and cellular touch. It's essentially the magic of connection. Then, on the other side, is cool energy. This one is all about tranquility, intense focus, and this sort of mind-chilling stillness. You're going to want to keep these two distinct magical forces in mind because how the characters utilize this balance is absolutely vital to their survival when things get rough.
Jumping into Section 4, Defenders of the Infinity Herd, the heroes. Okay, just let this number sink in for a second. 60. The project features an expansive roster of over 60 original, unique biological hybrids. Remember that synthesized genetic serum from the Anunnaki scientists we talked about? Well, this is the result.
We've got to run through just a fraction of this wildly diverse, cross-generational roster. Leading the charge is Princess Sunsparkle Sunshine. She's an alicorn who acts as a conduit of hope. Then you have Jet, a Pegasus-turned-demon-donkey hybrid. We've got Logan Lucas Moonstone, a wolf-horse hybrid, who fights alongside the highly specialized Wolf Squad, featuring characters tied to the Wolf and Autumn lore. You also have these incredibly gritty, legendary survivors like Little Pip Whiskey Shot and Barker defending Ashestown. And honestly, the sheer creativity of these combinations is staggering. The broader alliance includes creatures called Zorks, alligator hybrids, dragon pups, and even baby hippotox.
Actually, let's zoom in on Jet for a second to really showcase the gritty PG-13 redesign of these characters. Jet isn't just your standard Pegasus, he is a powerhouse demon-donkey hybrid, distinguished by these massive clawed hooves and sharp teeth.
He is specifically known in the lore for his brutal ability to literally bite and kick back fiercely against the dark forces. Make no mistake, this is a world where survival absolutely requires teeth and claws.
Let's move to and see how this builds in Section 5, Agents of Volcanic Entropy, the Dark Syndicate.
The vivid nomenclature of these villains literally tells you exactly what they're about. The primary antagonist is Dearoo, an evil alicorn wolf hybrid. He's joined by Pip Petals 2.0, also known as the Pink Menace, who is this chaotic troll minion. Then there's Mr. Smellyface, a deranged Arabian horse, whose main weapon is bringing psychological torment and inappropriate behavior to the towns. And if that wasn't enough, they're backed up by the Apocalypse Riders, War, Plague, Famine, and Death Star. They bring gambling, stalking, and just utter chaos directly to the ruins of Ashtown.
And Dearoo's specific methods of destruction. They are incredibly high stakes. He doesn't just want to conquer the territory. He utilizes volcanic entropy and radioactive despair to corrupt the very atmosphere of the world. He operates purely on isolation, fear, and malice, which totally sets the stage for a massive multiversal crisis. Which leads us to the climax in Section 6, the ultimate symmetry shield.
So Dearoo is totally expecting this bloody, chaotic turf war, but the Infinity Herd outsmarts him using a highly tactical, three-phase plan based entirely on empathy and discipline. In Phase 1, the Herd, moving in perfect synchronized formation, unleashes a cool energy wave. This razor-sharp tranquil stillness instantly dampens the explosive rage of the Apocalypse Riders. Then in Phase 2, rather than fighting with brute force, the Herd executes a masterstroke of what they call defiant, thunderous joy. Finally, in Phase 3, without even using lethal violence, the Dark Syndicate is completely neutralized by empathy and cast out into the empty volcanic wastes.
I absolutely love this next detail. It's so surprising and kind of hilarious from the source material. How exactly do they execute that Phase 2 thunderous joy? Well, right in the center of the active battlefield, surrounded by the literal wreckage of Ashtown, the Herd sets up arcade cabinets and board games, and they feast on vibrant, healthy vegan meals. They nuzzle, they groom each other, and they shelter the young. It perfectly illustrates that the Herd's ultimate weapon isn't a bomb. It's an unbreakable, joyous community.
And all that joy, it actually fuels their ultimate defensive maneuver, the symmetry shield. By combining the warm energy of their healing touch and community with the cool energy of their disciplined focus, they create this massive feedback loop. This generates a glowing, protective dome that radiates such intense peace and positive reinforcement that Dearoo's demonic crew literally cannot pierce it. It is tactical empathy at its absolute finest.
There's this quote from the lore that just perfectly sums up exactly how the villains are defeated. The sheer warmth of a united community acts like sunlight on vampires. There's no room left for hatred to breathe. The villains aren't destroyed in some fireball of cheap violence. Their dark, parasitic energy just evaporates because the Herd leaves absolutely no room for it.
And this brilliantly illustrates the whole vibe of the project's official PG-13 rating, which is for intense action, survival drama, mature emotional themes, mild language, and epic multi-dimensional adventure. It masterfully contrasts that wholesome magic of friendship and vegan battlefield feasts with gritty survival themes, blood, and the deep psychological torment of a post-apocalyptic megastate.
Bringing all this epic lore back down to earth for a second, this fan film project actually has a set premiere date. It's slated to release on August 18th, 2026. This date is deeply personal for SSLP Productions because it coincides with the creator's 21st birthday, and it serves as a massive celebration of 5 to 6 years of immense dedication, world-building, and independent creation.
So we've covered the whole shebang, the genesis, the hybrid heroes, the twisted villains, and the tactical magic of Michigan Equestria. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to ponder. If you found yourself fighting for survival in the ruins of Ashtown, would you master warm energy to heal the Herd or cool energy to freeze the chaos? Thanks for exploring this massive universe with me today, and keep seeking out the stories that inspire you. See you next time.